4 minutes. That was the time they had. 4 minutes until the last chopper lifted off, leaving the valley for good. But on the wrong side of a jagged, unforgiving ridge, 19 soldiers were still trapped, their position about to be overrun. The radio crackled to life, a desperate voice cutting through the static. An SOS. The message was chillingly simple. They were pinned down, taking heavy fire, and their ammo was running dangerously low. Without an immediate evac, they weren't going to make it. Back at the forward operating base, the request hit the command tent like a shockwave. Every available aircraft was already tasked, either in the air or down for maintenance. Every single one, except for a lone Black Hawk, calcined Dust Devil 7 to 9, sitting on the pad, its rotors still at. The crew had just completed a grueling 6-hour flight and were supposed to be standing down, but when the call came, there was no hesitation. The pilot, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Michael Iron Mike Corrigan, and his crew sprinted to their bird. Within moments, the powerful engines roared to life, kicking up a storm of dust and gravel. Their mission was clear: get those 19 soldiers out. As Dust Devil 7 to 9 clawed its way into the sky, the world around them began to turn against them. The clear sky from moments ago was now a churning cauldron of black clouds. A sudden violent storm, typical of the region's unpredictable mountain weather, was rolling in fast. Rain began to lash against the cockpit window, and the wind howled, tossing the multi-million-dollar machine around like a toy. Visibility dropped to near zero. A voice came over the command channel, sharp and authoritative. Dust Devil 7 to 9, abort mission. I repeat, abort mission. Weather conditions are non-permissive. Return to base. Corrigan listened to the command, his knuckles white as he gripped the controls. He looked at his co-pilot, a silent understanding passing between them. On the other side of that ridge, 19 souls were counting on them. Turning back wasn't an option. He keyed his mic. Command, be advised. We are continuing with the mission. A moment of stunned silence on the other end, then a resigned Godspeed. 7 to 9, Corrigan was flying blind, relying on his instruments and his gut, pushing the Black Hawk and his crew to the absolute limit. He was flying into a wall of wind and rain, towards an active firefight against a direct order. They broke through the worst of the storm cell and the valley opened up beneath them. It was a hellscape. Muzzle flashes flickered like angry fireflies all along the ridgeline where the enemy was dug in. Below, in a small exposed clearing, they could see the faint glint of a signal mirror, the landing zone. It was a postage stamp of relatively flat ground, and it was completely exposed to enemy fire. As Corrigan began his descent, the air around them exploded. Tracer rounds, green and red, zipped past the cockpit. The distinctive thud of rounds hitting the fuselage echoed through the cabin. The enemy knew they were coming, and they were throwing everything they had at the helicopter. We're going in hot. Corrigan yelled over the intercom. He pushed the collective down, dropping the Black Hawk with stomach-lurching speed. This wasn't a landing, it was a controlled crash. The goal was to be on the ground for the absolute minimum amount of time. As the skids slammed into the earth, the two door gunners opened up their M240 machine guns, roaring to life. They laid down a blistering wall of suppressive fire, their brass casings clattering onto the floor of the cabin as they chewed through their ammo belts, forcing the enemy fighters to keep their heads down. The side doors were thrown open before the chopper even fully settled. "Go, go, go," the crew chief screamed from the rocks and scrub just beyond the landing zone. Figures emerged. The 19 trapped soldiers, exhausted and battered, made a desperate sprint for the helicopter. They ran, hunched over, as enemy rounds kicked up dirt all around them. One soldier stumbled, and his buddy immediately turned back, hauling him to his feet and half carrying him the rest of the way. They piled into the cabin, a frantic jumble of gear, weapons, and bodies. They were trained professionals, but the sheer relief and terror of the moment was etched on every face. The enemy, seeing their prize about to slip away, intensified their assault. The barrage of fire was relentless. A rocket-propelled grenade streaked past the tail boom, exploding just yards away and showering the helicopter with shrapnel. The door gunners never let up. They stood exposed in the doorways, a torrent of lead pouring from their weapons, creating a vital corridor of safety for the last few soldiers scrambling aboard. They were the guardian angels of this desperate escape, their courage the only thing holding back the closing jaws of the enemy. "Everyone's in," the crew chief shouted. "We're heavy, we're way over max gross." The Black Hawk, designed to carry a crew of 4 and about 11 combat-equipped troops, was now crammed with 25 people. The extra weight was immense. The warning lights on Corrigan's console were screaming at him. The engine strained, the rotor blades struggling to bite into the thin mountain air. Corrigan pulled on the collective, feeding every ounce of power he could to the straining turbines. The helicopter shuddered, groaned, but it refused to lift. For a terrifying second, it felt like they were stuck, a sitting duck in the middle of a kill zone. Corrigan knew he had one chance. He pushed the nose forward, trying to gain what pilots call translational lift, using the forward movement to get more air flowing over the rotors. The skid scraped against the rocky ground for what felt like an eternity. The enemy was closing in, some now visible, running towards their position. The door gunners fired their last belts of ammunition, their guns falling silent at the worst possible moment. It was now or never. With a final, agonizing groan from the engines and the airframe, Dust Devil 7-9 lurched into the air. It was a clumsy, heavy lift, barely clearing the rocks at the edge of the clearing. The belly of the chopper scraped the ground one last time before they were truly free. They flew low and fast, hugging the terrain to stay below the enemy's line of sight. Inside the cabin, there was a stunned silence, broken only by the panting of the rescued soldiers and the whine of the turbines. They had done it. Against all odds, against direct orders, through a storm and into a hail of gunfire. They had pulled 19 men from the brink as Dust Devil 729 finally cleared the last ridge and set a course for home. The first rays of morning sun broke through the clouds, illuminating a helicopter riddled with bullet holes, but full of living, breathing soldiers. They were all going home. The courage shown that day by the crew of Dust Devil 729 is a testament to the warrior ethos of leaving no one behind. It's a story of incredible skill, gut-wrenching decisions, and raw bravery in the face of impossible odds. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of heroism.